Good afternoon, I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory, and today and tomorrow are First Alert weather days. Both days we're going to be right on the brink of dangerously hot with a heat index into the triple digits, and there's also a very spotty chance of some thunderstorms, maybe even an isolated strong to severe storm, although I will say I think last night was probably the worst of the severe weather we're going to get this week. We are not the only ones on alert for heat. I don't know if it brings you any comfort to know that we're not alone in this, but we do have heat advisories and extreme heat warnings stretching across much of the country, especially right through the middle here. You'll notice the entire state of Missouri under an extreme heat warning today, and then that expands east into the tri-state as well. We are under an extreme heat warning until 7 p.m. today. Then when that expires, a heat advisory picks up and carries us through tomorrow. So I do think today will be the worst of the heat, but both days we're going to be kind of right on the brink of that dangerously high heat index of 105 or greater. Now, I mentioned thunderstorms last night. We did have a few severe thunderstorms pop up around 5 o'clock yesterday evening, and then they stuck with us on into the night last night, and we even still had some rain into early this morning, but that all tapered off by about 9 a.m. and we have been mostly sunny ever since. Lots of blue skies and sunshine out there today. I will point out that just to our north there is a severe thunderstorm watch. The tri-state is not included in this one, but just to the north of us, places like Knox and Davies and Martin counties in Indiana, and then stretching kind of right along the eastern edge of Illinois and then covering much of Indiana, we have this severe thunderstorm watch until 8 o'clock tonight. Again, that does not include the tri-state. We are just to the south of that, but just wanted to make sure you were aware that there is a severe thunderstorm watch just to the north of the tri-state that was issued earlier this afternoon for these thunderstorms that are coming down out of the Chicago area and making their way through primarily northern Indiana right now. Notice they have some pretty large severe thunderstorm warnings drawn for those storms right now, and one tornado warning there as well along that line of thunderstorms that is pushing kind of to the southeast across Indiana right now. Now, draping back behind that, there are some more spotty showers and storms back through northern Illinois and into Iowa. That's more of what we're going to get here at home. So if I put this into motion here for you and show you how this might play out going forward. Again, this is a model, so it's just a possibility, not a guarantee, but the general idea is that those thunderstorms that are causing severe weather in northern Indiana right now will continue to grow and develop and spread off to the east across Indiana and into Ohio there. Here at home, we're talking about that more isolated chance of showers and storms later tonight, more like what they're seeing in northern Illinois and back over into Iowa right now. That's more of what's headed our way. So we'll probably stay dry for the rest of the afternoon and evening. Then by about 9-10 o'clock tonight, we start to see some spotty rain pushing in from the north, and that chance of rain will be with us through the overnight hours and even into very early Tuesday morning, like 5-6 a.m. I do think the best chance of severe weather is going to stay to our east through the overnight hours, but an isolated strong to severe storm certainly cannot be ruled out here at home. By about 6 or 7 a.m., the rain chances will be over tomorrow, and then it'll be partly cloudy and dry for the rest of the day. There is another chance of some showers. I don't know that we'd see any thunderstorms this time around. It's looking like that rain would probably be pretty light, but a few showers are possible then overnight Tuesday night. By Wednesday, then, the clouds and any chance of rain, it all clears off to the south, and we have beautiful blue skies and lower heat and humidity as we go into the middle part of the week. But we still got to get through the rest of today and tomorrow, which are First Alert weather days. The tri-state currently included in a level 2 risk out of a scale of 5. So a few strong to severe storms certainly cannot be ruled out tonight, but widespread severe weather is not expected. We're not even expecting widespread rain tonight. It's just that any storms that do develop may have the potential to become strong or even severe. The greater risk of severe weather is where they have severe weather right now, up in this level 3 risk, up around the Great Lakes, stretching down into central Indiana there. That's where the greatest risk of severe weather is for this afternoon. Then that storm risk kind of slides more to the east-southeast as we go through the overnight hours and then into Tuesday. Tuesday, it'll be mainly east of the tri-state. And again, if we get anything on Tuesday here at home, it would mainly just be rain, maybe a brief rumble of thunder. Looking at the individual threats, if we were to get any severe storms tonight, damaging winds are the most likely threat. The secondary threat would be heavy rain that could cause flooding. We're not real concerned about hail or tornadoes with these storms. Again, overall, our severe weather risk in general is pretty low. Most of the storms are probably going to stay to our north and east this time around, but an isolated, strong to severe storm with heavy rain and damaging wind gusts certainly can't be ruled out through the overnight hours tonight. And leading up to those storms, during the day today, it's just going to be very hot. And that's what we've got out there right now. Temperatures are in the upper 80s to low 90s. Evansville sitting at 89 right now, but just to the west, Mount Vernon, Fairfield, Mount Carmel, all at 91. Owensboro, one of the cooler spots, sitting at 87. I do want to point out that it feels like many of us are in the triple digits. We've got a heat index of 103 in Mount Vernon, 107 in Mount Carmel and Oakland City. Evansville and Owensboro, two of the cooler spots, and so heat index still only in the upper 90s there. Dew points are currently sitting in the mid to upper 70s for most of us, which is pretty sticky, right? That still puts the muggy meter up here at the top. It's not quite as miserable as what we were seeing last week. I don't know if you remember Tuesday of last week, so almost a week ago now, we had some dew points in the upper 70s and even low 80s. That's where it was so thick and humid. It was soupy out there, almost like you couldn't hardly breathe. It was so humid. It's not quite that extreme, but it's still pretty muggy out there today. And again, that humidity paired with that heat is what's making it feel even hotter than it actually is. And I think we'll still climb another degree or two as we go through this afternoon. So most of us will probably top out somewhere in the lower 90s with those heat index values breaking into the triple digits across the board. Anything 105 or higher is considered dangerously hot. So some of you are already getting there. Many other locations in the tri-state will break over into that danger zone within the next hour or two. So just please be very mindful if you need to get anything done outdoors this afternoon. Try and push it off to a cooler time of day. Just here for the next 3 hours or so in the hottest part of the afternoon is where you really do have that danger of heat-related illnesses, things like heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Overnight, partly cloudy. We do have that isolated chance of storms overnight. Again, some of them may be capable of producing damaging wind gusts as well as some very heavy rain. It's also going to be very warm and muggy. Even after the sun goes down tonight, our temperatures are only going to fall back into the mid to upper 70s tonight. Then tomorrow we bounce right back up into the upper 80s to low 90s. It's not going to be quite as hot or humid, but still the heat index could break into the low triple digits, kind of butting right up against that 105 degree danger mark. So during the hottest part of the day Tuesday, we might get into that danger zone, which is why we've got a heat advisory rather than an extreme heat warning. Tomorrow's not going to be quite as extreme, but you still want to take precautions. And again, if you can just push things off one more day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday looks really, really nice. Now the temperature change may not be all that dramatic. We're going from the upper 80s to low 90s on Tuesday to the mid to upper 80s Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's really a drop of only a few degrees, but it's going to feel dramatically better because of the change in the humidity. You'll remember last week, like I said, Tuesday of last week, it was so humid you couldn't hardly breathe out there. And then we had this just rush of cooler, drier air come in. It felt incredible out there, just refreshing on Thursday. Then over the weekend, the humidity creeped back in. And we had some scattered storms last night. Behind those, we saw a bit of a dip in the humidity, but still very, very muggy out there today and into tomorrow as well. Notice though, as we go Tuesday into Wednesday, another big drop in the humidity. Not quite as extreme as last week. It's not going to quite be refreshing, but it is going to be a lot better than it is out there right now. So coming down from stifling, oppressive humidity down to just plain old humid, right? Which for late July, early August, that's about as you can typically expect to get in the tri-state. So we'll have just kind of mid-range dew points then from Wednesday into Thursday and Friday. The humidity does increase a little bit over the weekend, but that's because there's going to be extra moisture in the atmosphere due to rain, as we do have rain chances returning over the weekend. But I mentioned, the temperatures themselves really don't change all that dramatically, but look at how dramatically the heat index changes. We go from a heat index in the triple digits Monday and Tuesday to low 90s Wednesday and Thursday. So the actual temperatures may only change by 3 or 4 degrees, but it's going to feel 10 to maybe even 15 degrees cooler just because of that shift in the humidity. It really makes a world of difference. Let's check in on the comments here real quick before we move forward. Good afternoon, Jeanette. Justin, William picked up 0.88 inches by Bosse Field yesterday. That's very similar to what they got over at the Evansville Regional Airport. I'll show you that in just a second. You're welcome, Justin. Good afternoon, Cheyenne. Yes, Suzanne, we did have quite a few storms last night. Not everyone got those thunderstorms, but where they hit, they produced a lot of wind and a lot of lightning, really putting on a light show last night. I know there were some minor wind damage, some power outages and things like that last night. And yes, Misty, it is miserably hot and humid out there today. Yeah, really, really hot. And I agree with you, William. Yesterday was almost just as bad. And, Judy says Maceo got 3 inches of rain yesterday. I know that they had a flash flood warning in Davis County because there was so much rain over one area there. So that doesn't really surprise me. Again, we're still on alert through tomorrow. Today is the worst of it. Tomorrow, it's still going to be pretty steamy, though. And we've got that isolated chance of some storms overnight tonight into very, very early Wednesday morning, like before 6 a.m. Then really quieter weather takes over for the rest of the week. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 80s, but the humidity is going to be a lot lower, so really it'll feel pretty good out there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. By the weekend, Friday into Saturday, we've got a low pressure system that's going to move in south of the tri-state, and so we're going to have rain wrapping up around into our region. Because it looks like the low will be to our south, I think the risk of severe weather will probably also be to our south. So we're talking about just rain, maybe at worst a few rumbles of thunder, as long as the current track of the low stands. Now, if that low shifts farther north, then maybe we could introduce some severe weather chances for us here locally. But as long as that low is going to stay to our south and the rain's going to kind of wrap up and around into the tri-state, I think it'll be just rain and maybe a few rumbles of thunder for us this weekend. The clouds and the rain do cool us off a bit more. Highs will be in the low to maybe mid 80s over the weekend. But as that rain moves out, we do see our temperatures warming back up then to start next week. Taking a look back at weather history, today I want to go back to 1962, just because thinking about this day makes me feel refreshed, given the heat and humidity we're dealing with out there this afternoon. On July 27th, 1962, cool Canadian high pressure was centered over our region, and we had a record-setting low of 49 degrees in Evansville. We dipped into the upper 40s in late July in 1962. Imagine having that kind of a chill in the air. Certainly can't imagine it today when we've got, this hot, humid air in place, and tonight we're only going to get into the mid to upper 70s. Saturday was the coolest day so far this month. We had expected to get into the low 80s with some sun breaking out in the afternoon, but those stubborn clouds just hung around. So we had rain Saturday morning, and then even into Saturday afternoon, we never got any sunshine. So we didn't have anything to warm us up, and we just kind of held steady in the 70s all day Saturday. Sunday, though, man, we cranked up the heat and the humidity. We got into the low 90s yesterday. We picked up 0.83 inches of rain at the Evansville Regional Airport yesterday. That number may need to be adjusted a little higher because this would have stopped at midnight, and we did see some rain overnight into very early this morning, and that has not been added into the total yet. So just something to keep in mind there. The official rainfall total for yesterday in Evansville, 0.83 inches, still leaves us a couple inches short on rain for the month and about 3 inches short on rain for the year. But again, because of the way our rain has been so scattered, some of you maybe, having a surplus of rain this July. If you've gotten caught under more than one of these thunderstorms with this heavy rain and flooding, it's possible that you've got more rain than you would expect for the month of July. But the official records are kept at the Evansville Regional Airport, which has not caught all of the rain that we've had so far this July. Our average temperature, even though we did have that cool day on Saturday, it's still running about 1 degree warmer than normal. That's not outrageously off, obviously 1 degree difference, but it is running warmer than average just because we have had, 2 or 3 little heat waves so far this July. Today and tomorrow, again, still right at the cusp of just dangerously hot, so please be careful if you're getting out to do any yard work today and tomorrow. Otherwise, don't look too bad. The heat is really the main hang-up here. Our storm chances are very isolated and mainly overnight, but I would just urge caution. If you're going to be out mowing the grass or something like that, you could easily get overheated today and even into tomorrow. If you can wait and let it grow till Wednesday, that's what I would do. Wednesday and Thursday look much more pleasant, less humid, not as hot. Looking at the extended outlook, I mentioned, we've got this little cool down as we get into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The rain cools us off even more over the weekend. Then as that rain moves out, we start to heat back up as we get into early next week. Well, the extended outlook for Tuesday, August 4th through the rest of next week does show wetter weather off to our northeast, drier weather off to our northwest, but here at home, just kind of a typical isolated chance of rain. Temperature-wise, though, I do want to point out that we see a trend back toward above average temperatures as we get into next week. And in fact, when you look at the Climate Prediction Center's hazard outlook, notice the tri-state outlooked in this kind of reddish orangish color here. That is a slight risk of extreme heat from Tuesday, August 4th through Thursday, August 6th. So that is something we'll be keeping an eye on. After that rain moves through this weekend, as that pushes out, temperatures start to heat back up into the mid to upper 80s on Monday. And then by middle of next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week, it's possible we could be right on the brink of dangerously hot again, maybe breaking back into the 90s, depending on the humidity. Could have some more triple-digit heat index values, but that's more than a whole week away. So we're not going to stress about that just yet. Let's get through the heat we're dealing with right now first, but just wanted to give you a heads up in the extended outlook. If you have plans middle of next week, it does seem like it's going to be pretty hot again. Let's check in on the comments one more time. Good afternoon. Laura Gray says they lost power in Dawson Springs. Yeah, I was driving home. I had been to visit some family in down near Kentucky Lake and was coming back home to Henderson last night. And I was going to stop and get gas in Hanson, and Hanson was out of power when I went to go to the gas station last night. Had to drive on up. Thankfully, I had enough to keep going. Yeah, Justin said it just kept raining in Maceo last night. Yeah, whereas others have kind of dodged a lot of the rain. It's been really feast or famine. Some folks have gotten a ton of rain and have even flooded, and others are going, we could use some rain. It really just kind of depends on where exactly you are. Zach is asking about severe thunderstorm threat for this weekend. Not worried about severe thunderstorms this weekend at this time, Zach. We'll obviously keep an eye on it and let you know if that changes. But normally the setup, right? You guys can probably picture this in your head, especially if you're somebody who watches a lot of weather. The typical setup is you'd have like a low pressure system and then the cold front draped down kind of under it, behind it, right? And then when that kind of all pushes through, that's where you have your severe weather, is south of the low, ahead of the front, right? Well, it looks like this low pressure system is going to be south of the tri-state. So the low, the front, all of that would be down below us, and we'd be on the northern edge. We're just getting kind of caught in some wraparound rain kind of on the back side of this. So I think any chance of severe weather will probably stay south of the tri-state this weekend, but we're certainly watching it very closely. And if that track shifts a little bit, that could obviously change. But as of right now, it's Monday. We're talking about the weekend. That's nearly a full week out here. As it stands right now, I think it'll be mainly just rain and maybe a few rumbles of thunder this weekend. Some of that rain could still be on the heavy side though. So So if nothing else, we could maybe be monitoring for some flooding. It is something we're keeping a very close eye on, but as it stands right now, Zach, I'm not real worried about severe weather this weekend. We do have a very isolated chance of some severe storms with damaging wind and heavy rain tonight, but again, it would be very isolated, so not everyone's going to see those storms, but just know if a thunderstorm develops in your area tonight, there may be the potential that we could see some more power outages, some more minor wind damage and things like that. So that's what we'll be tracking for you tonight. Outside of the storm chances, we're on alert for the heat through the rest of the day today and through the day tomorrow. After about 7 o'clock tomorrow, that's when the heat advisory expires. The cold front will have moved through. Cooler air will be filling in from the north. Sun will be setting. The heat will be coming to an end, and then it'll be cooler and less humid then through the rest of the week. And so that's a little something to look forward to. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday all look pretty nice. Then that rain starts to push in probably late Friday. Saturday is our best chance of rain, and then it carries over into Sunday too. So that's something to be watching. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions in the comments, so I'm going to wrap this up. Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lyons will have another look at these first alert weather days and the rest of your forecast on 14 News Tonight at 4, 5, 6, and 10. And he'll do another streaming show here tonight at 9, so I hope you'll join him for that then. Everybody stay safe, stay cool, and have a good rest of your day.